You want to hear a funny story? I recorded half of this message already in audio format, but forgot to push record on the video camera. So there's just wasted time there, I guess. So we're going to try this again, and I think I pressed record this time, so yeah, I did. So let's let's just try to do this the right way this time. What's up, guys? Welcome to the last installment of our first series, Activate. And I want you to let me know down in the comments if there is another series or another topic that you want to go over. Just let me know down there so I can see all of that and hopefully work towards that next time. But back to what we've been talking about for the last few weeks, back to this term, activate. Now, activate, it's a science term. It's about energy. It's when you find the right combination of molecules and you get this chemical reaction. That's what activate is all about. And when we talk about activating our faith means that we are providing the reaction. We are getting that reaction that draws us closer to God. Deactivating our faith means that reaction doesn't happen. It's kind of like science, it just doesn't turn into what you want it to be, and eventually it fizzles out. It can lead to a slowdown and actually less interaction with God in our day-to-day lives. And when we talk about faith, faith is just our trust and our confidence in God. And we've used Peter as kind of a model throughout this whole series of someone who has a faith that can be activated or deactivated. Now, Peter, as we know him, is a pretty special guy. I mean, after learning all this stuff about him, we would agree that Peter is a pretty special guy. Peter has churches named after him. He has books written about him. He even has books written by him. You know them in the Bible. Peter is a really cool guy. He's a really special guy in the church. He led the early church. And you might think to yourself, yeah, Peter did that. He walked with Jesus. He literally walked with Jesus and spent time with him in person. And you may think that I can never do anything like that. You may think to yourself, I can't do anything like that. I mean, Peter literally walked with Jesus. How can I ever compete with that? But we've kind of seen that Peter has struggled with the same things that we struggle with today. He struggled with guilt. We talked about that the first week. Doubt, we talked about the second week. And last week we talked about the bad experiences that you can have with other Christians. I know that we all experience that today. And no matter what, you see that Peter does all these amazing things and you think, yeah, that's cool. But I can never do that. I'm a student. I go to church every day. Yeah, that's cool. But I can't be a part of the early church. I can't lead a movement. I can't do anything like that. Peter was special because of all those things that happened in his time, and God just doesn't do that stuff anymore with people. But I'm actually going to show you that that's actually farther than you think from the truth. See, Peter eventually did all of those amazing things. But at one point, Peter was just a follower of Jesus, just like you and me. He was just a follower of Jesus. Now, he did follow Jesus in the flesh, which is pretty cool. And to be honest with you, there's plenty that Peter messed up. Like, he once cut off a priest's ear. Now, to be clear, it was the servant of a priest, but back in that time, it pretty much was like he cut off a priest's ear. Listen, an ear is an ear, and he cut one off. He denied knowing Jesus to a teenage girl. Probably not the best thing in his life. Peter was insanely impulsive about the things that he did and said. If you don't believe me, just kind of refer back to the first thing I said about the ear. Jesus even once called Peter Satan. To be clear, he said to him, "Get behind me, Satan." But either way, being called Satan is not really what you want from Jesus. But we also know about all the good things that Peter would eventually do. He was a central figure in the early church, in the building of the early church. He spoke one time and 3,000 people decided to follow Jesus. He healed people in numerous cities. He even prayed once and a dead girl came back to life. Now, that's pretty cool. And let me read you from the Bible about all the things that Peter did. As a result, people brought the sick into the streets and laid them on beds and mats so that at least Peter's shadow might fall on some of them as he passed by. And that's Acts chapter 5, verse 15. So what changed between the disciple that messed up all the time and this Peter that we know today? It's simple. He saw a resurrected Jesus. See, once Peter encountered a resurrected Jesus, he knew that everything that Jesus had said was true. He knew that Jesus became who he said he would. To be clear, it activated his confidence in who God said he was. Everything that Peter encountered had the potential to deactivate his faith. But Peter didn't let that happen. Later in life, Peter writes to a group of people who are just getting started in their faith journey. And he says this to them. Simon Peter, a bondservant of the apostle of Jesus Christ, to those who have received a faith of the same kind as ours. And that's 2 Peter, the first chapter, the first verse. Peter is saying the faith that I have, Peter is saying to you, to me, to these people, the faith that I have is the faith that you can have. And why? Well, he continues right here. In the next verse, he says, by the righteousness of our God and Savior, Jesus Christ. Peter explains the reason for his faith. Because Peter didn't actually grow his own faith. Jesus did. Peter didn't get his own life together. Jesus did. And Peter knew that he was not the one that was responsible for the change that people saw in him. Jesus was responsible. And the truth is that when Peter saw Jesus rise from the dead, when Peter saw that what Jesus said was true, it activated his faith. And you might think that you can't be like Peter because you've messed up. You might think that you can't be like Peter because you're just a student. You may think that you can't be like Peter because of everything you've ever done. But Peter did some pretty bad things too. And he never let that get in the way of following Jesus and letting it activate his faith. Faith is about following Jesus for what he did, not for anything that we do. Essentially, when we have Jesus, we have everything that we need to have a faith that is activated. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to get subscribed. Make sure to enable notifications so you never miss anything that's going on this channel. And I'll see you guys next week.